it's Rhea. Wherever you are and whatever time it is, I hope you are enjoying yourself. So it's been a while since my last PERSARTIFY, and you guys are probably like, what the heck is PERSARTIFY? Because the last time I made a video about that, it was probably like a year ago, when I took summer fruits and turned them into just regular characters. But yeah, personifying things, if you're new here, or if you're new to knowing about me, personifying things into people is like probably one of my favorite things to do ever, and I love seeing everyone else's renditions of how they do it. But yeah, like even if I ignore it, it's always gonna be in my head. Like I have to turn this thing, this concept, this whatever into a person. And I figured now, as time is going on and fall is nearing its end, I'm hoping to send it off with 3 characters that I draw in this video. So about half a minute ago, you probably saw a bunch of chicken scratch. That is my handwriting, and that's kind of like my brainstorming process for whenever I'm coming up with characters like this, or at least for like this kind of series where I'm just personifying how I would expect a character to look or potentially be like. And yeah, in this video I will be drawing 3 fall flavored characters, or basically characters that are inspired by fall flavors. If you haven't noticed by now, the first one that I am starting with is apple. Just plain old apple. Gala apple. Actually, no, not Gala apple. Honeycrisp apples. Those are the best. Now, this video is pretty much just a time-lapse compilation because each drawing that I do, it is incredibly sped up, and all of this is done in Procreate. Procreate is pretty much what I mainly use to do digital art with. So yeah, I hope you can stick around for this. Each one is about like 7 to 10 minutes long, but I just figured it might be interesting so you can see like the full process of me drawing out these overly I feel like I kind of went over the top by creating full-on character sheets for this, so yeah, it might be a bit. It's probably gonna be like a 30-minute video, so grab a nice cup of tea. I actually have hot chocolate with me right next to me while I do these voiceovers, so it's gonna be a little bit soothing. Hopefully you can just have this in the background to chill, or you can just slowly watch it all come together. But yeah, so basically each one of these, like I said, is a full scale character sheet almost. Like I don't normally do this. This is definitely the definition of doing the most for me, because I just kind of started this out for fun. I think it was because like I'm used to, like when I originally started doing these for the very first time, when I did like the summer fruit ones, I did them in my sketchbook, and I just kind of sketched out different types of like profiles to get the character down. And that's kind of what I do now whenever I like try to work on a new character. I like to like draw them in different angles or like different outfits or things like that. And so I ended up doing that for this one, and despite how much it took out of me to do that, like I just still continued to do that. Like I just made that the standard instead of just doing like, I don't know, a full body or like a bust portrait and like that was it, because like I definitely did not have to make this whole spread but I do it for each and every one of them. So yeah, I feel like that was a little bit exhausting. I will say something that really helped me justify doing all that is the fact that I like coming up with OCs. I like coming up with like all the kinds of fun characters and stuff, and creating like stories and just creating like all these fun designs, but I rarely have anything to showcase for it. So it's like I might draw a cool character once, or I might draw them multiple times, but I never have any kind of reference sheet for them on how like they look, or even just small things about their character traits on the side. So if people ever want to draw my OCs, I don't have anything to show for that. And I don't have anything to show like in general for myself when I go to redraw them. I'm like, okay, let me go find this one photo that I've drawn of them and that's it. So I feel like these kind of helped. But before I get into more about that, let me make sure that I cover some of the process for this specific character sheet, since it's going by pretty quick. But yeah, so like I said, this first one is a drawing of the apple character, and so the process for each of these, I actually went about it slightly different each time. And I got a little experimental, if you will. And this first one is like, I feel like it's the closest to like what you would assume an anime type style to be, because it's like, and this is usually what I would do. It's like, so I did the sketch, you guys saw me do the sketch, and then I colored in the sketch underneath, and then I merged the layers. With the merged layers, then I lower the opacity and then start to do line art over it in a new layer, like on a new layer. So I'm like going in, making sure the line art's all crisp and neat and things like that. And then I start to add in the actual flats and go from there, and then I start doing the rendering and stuff like that. And initially, that's how I've done my digital art lately. Like, over the span of how long I've been doing digital art, it's always been like that. It's like sketch, then line art, then flats, and then rendering. But that is not what I do when I go to the second ones necessarily. I try out different things. But yeah, that's what I did for this one, and I felt like it went pretty straightforward and smooth. And I like apples. Apples are neat. Apples are nice. I don't really go out of my way to eat them, but if it's there, I'll eat it. And I feel like it's a fall thing. Like, it's not specifically, like, I feel like apples are all year round, but I think of apples most whenever I think of autumn and harvest season. You know, like those apple picking photos of, like, all the apples that are, like, bright, shiny red, and they're in, like, this basket or something. I don't know, it's very, like, aesthetic. But that's usually what I think of, so that's why I decided, okay, well, apple's gonna be one of the flavors that I do. And I actually thought for a second about doing another character. Well, like, if I were to ever do another batch of fall characters personified, I would definitely go with green apple as one. I don't know, maybe they could be like a sibling or even like a twin, because that's what I did whenever I did like the summer fruits, and I did peach, because there was white peach and then there was yellow peach, and they were siblings. But yeah, so that's something to think about in the future. But on terms of visual appearance, I feel like the hair, you know, I was thinking of somewhat like an apple shape. I actually thought for a second to add a little ahoge, but I was like, well, if I do that, then it doesn't really look like a stem. It kind of reminds me of like a pumpkin after that. It doesn't remind me of an apple anymore. But the idea was cute in concept. Like I said, I love the hair and the eyes. And the hair, I kind of actually did like that gradient fade, because you know how apples like oxidize? That's kind of what I was thinking of. Like, whenever you leave an apple out and it oxidizes and it starts to fade a little bit. I thought trying that with the hair would be kind of fun, and I really like how it came out, so. And as for Abby's character, she's really cute. Well, I also feel like, you know, as an apple themed character, of course she has to be like teacher's pet. She's got to be smart. I don't know, it's just certain things speak out to me whenever I create these characters. So for me, I was like, yeah, she'd be like teacher's pet. She'd be like well liked, like the class, not president, but like the person that you look up to on how to act nicely, like the one who sets the example. I feel like she would do that pretty well, but I also feel like she would have a mysterious side to her where people don't really know what she's thinking all the time. But yeah, like really intelligent, sweet, chill, and yeah, so I really like how she turned out. And coming up with these backgrounds was also another thing that I added in for no reason, but I guess it kind of became fun and nice to do. You can see I start to try to outline her silhouette a little bit, but then I was like, never mind. I didn't like how it looked, so. But I do like how it looks overall. And I like the very formal outfits with like the pencil skirts and things like that. And yeah, I think she turned out really cute. So yeah, that's all for Abby. And just to point out like how I'm doing these character sheets, it's basically like full body on the side. We love a full body. Everyone needs to see a full body, usually. And then there's the chibi in the middle, which is kind of just for fun, because I've been really wanting to try to get down and develop a chibi style lately. And then like 3 different, I don't know, like portraits, like mini portraits, angled. So it's like there's one, and there's the behind, and there's the side profile, which I absolutely hate. I hate side profiles. Hi, my name's Rhea. I absolutely hate side profiles. because they're always a pain. But yeah, and then lastly, I top it off with a bust on the very right. And I love doing bust up drawings because it's just so, it's like you get to see the character for the most part, but I'm not doing like everything. So yeah. But yeah, and that's kind of like what I like the basis that I've come up with for these character sheets. And like I said, I feel like it's a bit much to be doing for such a cute, simple project like this. Like, I pretty much just wanted to do this solely for a video. I don't know how well I can justify just doing it in general and neglecting other super important, exciting projects that I could have been doing, but here we are. And yeah, but like I said, it will help me in the future when I come up with my own character sheets for my more developed concrete OCs that I've had for a while. But I don't know, I'm trying to see if there's like a really simple layout that I can do that isn't gonna take too much, you know? When it comes to character sheets, there's so many different kinds that you can go with, and it's like, I feel like I would like to have one that is like super, like actually legitimate, like, oh, I would use this if I was releasing a webcomic and I wanted someone to like know about what my character looks like and all about them, versus like just a really simple, straightforward, hey, here's my character that I sometimes mention or will sometimes draw from time to time, and here's what they look like, and a synopsis, like a quick brief blurb about them, and that's that. And I feel like having a differentiation between the two would be helpful. That way I don't go out and do all of this. Because it's like, really and truly, for a character sheet, you could just have like a full body turnaround. So a full body from the front and a full body from behind. I don't have to be doing all this chibi and like bust up, you know. I feel like a solid one would just be like a turnaround, and then maybe some like little mini portraits at the top or something like that. You can try it out and see what you like for you. But another thing that I find this to be helpful with is also that it helps me with, you know how some people have same face syndrome or whatever? I feel like sometimes I have the opposite, where I can't draw the same character looking consistent. So that's something that I feel like this also kind of helped out with, in making me think about, okay, how do I keep the character consistent? Take this current character that I'm drawing, for example, which is Pumpkin Spice. And actually, let me talk about the process real quick before I once again get distracted. So in contrary to Abby's drawing or her character sheet, the one that I did for Pumpkin Spice, or just, well, yeah, no, I guess it's like pumpkin spice, whichever one you prefer. But I did this differently because you can see after I did the sketch, I actually went in and pushed the sketch a little bit more, and I've been talking about this process for a while now. I keep calling it this weird color blocking thing that I do. Really and truly, like, some people would just call it a more painterly approach to digital art, where it's like you're drawing and rendering all on one layer. And initially that terrifies me, because once again, I'm a layer girl. I like to use multiple layers as much as I can. Until it gets tedious and then I hate myself. But for the most part, I feel like layers really help me, and they keep things safe and organized. So doing this where I'm just drawing all on one layer, it's kind of terrifying. But I'm also the kind of person where it's like, whenever I sketch, sometimes I like to push it a little bit further and see like all the different things I can add until it no longer becomes a quote-unquote sketch, but I'm still going to call it a quote-unquote sketch because I don't want people to be like, oh, this is finished, and then it still has mistakes. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so I've been trying out this process all throughout this year, and I decided to do it a little bit differently here and meet in the middle. So like, I start the drawing out, right? Do the sketch and all, do the colors underneath, and then merge them together per usual. It's still a sketch. Then I sort of push that sketch a little bit and try to render here and there. Not perfectly, but just try to like really flesh it out more. And this time I did the line art over it, right? But then I meant for that line art to be the final line art, if that makes sense. And the sketch layer underneath, instead of creating like a full new layer of like doing the skin separately and the clothes separately and the hair separately like I did for Abby's, I just keep that sketch layer that's initially underneath as it is, and whenever I complete this line art layer, what I do is I go back to that sketch layer underneath it and I try to make it fit the line art. So any changes that are different, I try to make it fit a little bit more. And I also try to like render out some things that weren't as rendered whenever I played with the sketch layer to begin with. So I hope this is making sense. You can always leave questions in the comments if you're a little bit confused about it, and I do plan on making like more videos going over my process. Hopefully I can do one that's a little bit more, a little less chaotic. Like this is a time-lapse compilation video, so it's like there's multiple time lapses and they're all sped up, of course, because it's a time lapse. But I would love to go a little bit more in depth about my thoughts whenever I'm doing this. And yeah, the thing about doing all of this is that I thought that I would save time with just the sketch layer underneath being the final colored layer, and I was so wrong. This actually took the longest out of all of them. So clown noise, but it is what it is. You know, in these processes, I feel like the only way for you to figure it out is for you to experiment with it, and so that's what I kind of wanted to do with this. Especially since this was initially just gonna be like a video thing. Like I said, it's not like this was prompted for me to like gain any merit out of it. So the least that I could do was try to push it to a learning opportunity and try to see like how I felt about different art processes and like what I might be leaning towards in the future. And I definitely feel like this helped. So, but moving on to pumpkin spice as a flavor and my personal thoughts on it. Not that anyone really cares, but I feel like people either strongly enjoy it or strongly hate it, and I'm kind of indifferent. Actually, pumpkin spice is a lot like chai to me, and I have like chai all year round. It's probably one of my favorite and most, like, it's probably my go-to type of tea. I love it. So whenever it comes out again, I'm just like, this is just chai. Pretty much, that's what it feels like. But I do still enjoy like pumpkin flavored things, like pumpkin flavored sweets I enjoy. So yeah, pumpkin spice latte though, once again, rather get a chai latte. They're basically the same thing, and you're getting charged more solely for like the whole seasonal capitalism thing. Don't fall into that unless you want to, but I don't. Anyways, I feel like for the physical appearance pumpkin, or also known as PK, that's what I named them at the end. Because it's such a popular flavor, I feel like I had to really hype her up. I also really wanted her to like be a little bit chubby, but I don't know how well that came across. But yeah, I just really went all out with their design. I feel like it's hard for me to pick a favorite thing about them. The reason why I went with a little like mini space buns is because one time I posted a drawing of like one of my OCs, and the way that I did the space buns, one of my friends commented that it looked like little mini pumpkins, and so I guess that kind of popped up in my head whenever I was drawing this character. And yeah, I feel like it's like actually on par this time. Like it's on brand and it's really cute, and I like adding the highlights. I try to think about all the fun, interesting things that I can add whenever creating a character, because it's not just like, when you create a character, there's so many things you can like add to them. There's like heterochromia is one that's getting increasingly popular over the years, but different kinds of moles or freckles and things like that. PK has freckles, but I have it in their lore, their ever so short lore, that the freckles that she puts on her face are actually fake. But it's okay, she's cute and she does it really well, so they get away with it. But yeah, they just have like a really fun, cutesy design. Like she has like a little fang, she has like one part of her hair like tucked behind her ear, and her cute little like pumpkin colored highlights, and her overall like casual outfit is pretty fun. All of them have like fall based outfits, by the way, if you can't tell. Also with her character and also the next character, you can definitely see where the whole consistency comes into play when making sure each highlight is in the same place each time I draw her. But personality wise, she's very like peppy, spicy sweet, kind of sassy, but pretty popular, but also like laid back. Kind of person that could befriend pretty much anyone. Yeah, I just feel like she'd be very precious. And once again, I really enjoy how they came out. They're probably the most popular or favorited because it's pumpkin spice. So there you go. Very cute. Also, the white is a hint at pumpkin spice latte because, you know, there's like milk in it. But anyways, moving on to the last but not least, of course. I actually just finished this one like earlier today. I say earlier today like it's not 1 a.m. right now, but I feel like by the time I got to Maple, I got very worn out. I was like, okay, even though I've had like a lot of fun with this project and I think it's like a really fun concept in general, I feel like the burnout is getting to me and I just want it to be over with. So I kind of was like really trying to push through this, and I feel like overall I do like how they came out, but yeah, I'm also glad that this is over. So yeah, this process is the one that is the most different on terms of like what I'm used to. So I do the sketch, once again, do the sketch, do the colors underneath, merge the layers. That is always going to be a thing. This time, though, instead of trying to do line art and then do extra layers underneath of the actual flats and the actual rendering, or instead of, you know, doing a sketch layer underneath and rendering it out and then doing line art on top of it, I do everything just all at once. Past the sketch, I'm just rendering it, and I'm just drawing all on top of it. At most, every now and then, I'll do like maybe one accessory or some important things that I want to be separate from the full like drawing altogether on its own. So like I do the glasses on their own layer. But yeah, initially I go through this and I just start painting over it, and it comes out very painterly, and I think it's actually very interesting that that's how it ends up turning out. I will say, because I was so done with this little like series, by the time I got to this one, I just kind of cut corners, and there's a lot of things that could have turned out a lot better or a lot more anatomically correct and things like that, but I just couldn't really bring myself to like care as much anymore. Like I said, it's not like I'm going to get any much merit for these. It was kind of just like a fun thing to do. And unfortunately, I have a habit of letting things like that are supposed to be a lot more laid back and like finish it whenever. I have a habit of letting those take over too much of my art. And I don't really get around to the things that I genuinely mean to accomplish. And yeah, that's kind of like disheartening. But nevertheless, it is still something that is helpful, so I am thankful that I got it done. But yeah, it's always nice to know that like I can push through stuff anyways and take care of it, and I think that it's really nice that it's something that'll also help me in the future. So yeah, this is Maple, and well, their name ends up being May, which is short for Maybelline, which I know you're gonna meme about because that's the makeup brand, but I don't know, it's a cute name. And I have all their names kind of like similar to like what they're named after or like what they're based on, because I just feel like that makes sense. But if you have any better names, let me know. But I think it's pretty cute. And also, so for process, I already talked about how this one is a lot more painterly, and but I will say I'm proud in a way because at first for the skin, I do have like dark-skinned OCs, and I've worked with it before, but I feel like I haven't worked with it enough to where I'm like 100% confident. I'm more about like, say 50, 60. But and I have an issue of where like I started out with the skin where it was like desaturated, like it was like not where it needed to be on the color hue. It could have been more intense, but I felt like if I went that intense that it might be too overpowering. And so what I ended up doing was I would go to like render the skin and I add on more like I go to do the shadows and stuff, and the shadows are like filled with color, so it makes the skin, the base skin, look like this sort of like weird gray pale ghostish. And that's because I wasn't using the base skin with like saturation in it, and that is probably a common mistake that people do. That, or they just continue to use a lot of like desaturated skin tones, and that's not like, I mean, you can do that, I guess, but I feel like if you want a more rich look that is actually in darker skin, then that's the way to get it, by using those rich colors full of saturation and vibrance. And I feel like that was like a pretty helpful thing for me to realize, and I'm glad, because I tried it out midway through working on this, and I feel like I learned something and got a little bit better. Even with medium skin tones such as my own, like say for whenever I was drawing the pumpkin character, for example, these are all fall based characters, so like by habit I want to use more fall colors, so like warm toned colors, and it's kind of hard to like balance out the warm colors on their outfits and like the warm colors in their skin. So that was a pretty tricky challenge, but I feel like it's something that's kind of opened my eyes and made me think a little bit more about how to approach skin and the different ways that I can do that. Yeah. Also, could not get the idea out of my head of like an afro that was like multicolored, like to like the color of maple leaves. I thought that just sounded so cool. I've seen like styled afros where it's like dark brown and blonde often, and it looks really cool and cute, but I feel like going for this, it was like, wow, this actually turned out pretty nice. And it's only because I like worked with a little bit and tried out different things. And honestly, when I thought of like a maple tree, and even like maple syrup, it's like, it's a dark color, it's pretty dark, but it also has like these iridescent type of like, at least syrup, maple syrup, it's like silky and has like that shine to it, that luster to it, kind of like honey does. And then just like the tree itself has like a really dark bark with all these vibrant colors. So, you know, those are the things that I took into consideration when putting this character together. And I feel like their interesting trait, aside from their hair, is definitely their glasses. Ooh, I will say I love the eyes. The eyes are supposed to be like a dark burgundy wine, almost towards like purplish color, and I feel like that was really fun. So I feel like character design wise, I really like how this one came out. And at the bottom you can see, like, because the chibis wear a different outfit, and I don't know why I did that, but I figured, I guess, like whenever I did the first one for Abby, like it would just be like her school outfit, and so all of them just in the chibi mode, they're wearing their school outfit. And because Mei is wearing a seifuku, I guess they are overseas. Because yeah, that's, I don't know, I thought it was really cute. And I don't know if I've ever seen a seifuku with like that kind of color pattern. I feel like I've seen it at least once, but I can't remember what it's from. And then also underneath they're wearing like a black, it's like a cropped one, kind of like how Sailor Moon has. It's like the old school one where it's like a long skirt, but it's like cropped. But yeah, and underneath they have like a black top or something, I don't know, with black tights. Yeah, I feel like I really like the burgundy, like red wine color. It's a little too light for red wine though. But anyways, I feel like this was a fun color palette to work with. I have no idea. I looked at so many different references on how to like draw a tied scarf, and I was fighting for my life, so I just improvised. Like I said, this one I kind of cut corners on and just kind of did whatever to close it out, so it's not like it's the best, but it's definitely a lot of things that I could have done better on it. But I feel like overall I do like the design and stuff. I love the fall outfit. Honestly, I would wear that. I would wear all of those. I love all the fall outfits that I did. Fall fashion is so freaking fun. Oh my gosh, it's like one of the main things that I look forward to whenever this time of year rolls around. As for Mei's character, I figured like they're kind of like the older friend that's like, you know, more mature, a little bit quieter, but like they still kind of stand out in their own way. Like they're definitely someone that leaves an impression on you, but it's like they're like more mature wise. They know how to look after you in case anything happens. I put down they're like the non-binary mom friend. And I thought that was pretty cute. I was like, I think everybody could use a non-binary mom friend. That sounds very nice. So yeah, and I really like how they came out. And I like to think that all three of these characters like hang out together from time to time. I mean, if May is like overseas, I guess like every now and then they hang out, but yeah. I would love to draw these three together. I feel like that'd be very cute. And as for a favorite, I feel like that's very hard. I'm tempted to say pumpkin, but I kind of like all of them a lot. I feel like this was really fun to do. So yeah, going forward though, I definitely don't think I need to be doing like a full character sheet. So I'm curious, if I were to do this again, which one would you be most interested to see, like format wise, what I draw the characters like? Would you be interested in seeing like a full body, maybe like just cute chibis, keep it simple, or like a bust up portraits like I did with the summer fruits? And I actually say this because I do have some Christmas or slash winter themed flavors planned, like personified versions of them, and I actually already have the designs out. It's a video I wanted to do last year and probably even the year before, but I never got around to it. So it is there and it is waiting, and I'm excited to work on that in the future as well. We'll see like how that comes out, but yeah, that's where your input could come into play if you'd like. Last but not least, this is not like an original idea, I will say, disclaimer, like this is just, I feel like a lot of people do this. In fact, there's a term called gijinkas, which stands for like a personified version of said theme or object, and yeah, it's a very fun thing to do. I feel like someone who does it really well is this artist named Reno Tuna, I believe, a Korean artist. They do it amazingly, but yeah, it's really cool. Anyways, I've rambled enough. We are headed towards the end of the video. Feel free to comment down below and let me know which ones you like the most, or which one you feel like came out the best, or maybe some flavors that you'd like to see me do in the future. But until next time, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed your time here today, please feel free to leave a like. If you're interested to see more of my content, you can always check my other videos and subscribe. For reference, if you're new, I am Rhea, or Etheria, and I like making art and art-related content on my channel. I do try to post weekly videos, but if you'd like more timely updates, you can always check out my other social media linked in the description and also at the end of the video. Primarily Twitter, Twitch. I also live stream on Twitch, but anyways. Until next time, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I wish you a nice rest of your day and week. Happy December, and take care.